I mean, if you look at the opportunities available to it's like when sometimes when the average person hear people like you speak, it sounds gibberish or it sounds very far off. Like, how do we get it? How do we get to become like you? How how do we get ourselves into the space so that we can also take advantage of the opportunities that you keep on mentioning? Because like it sounds so far off. So Samuel, let me start with you. Since you just finished your presentation, how did you get into this space, and what have you found out in the space since you've been in it?
All right, thank you. So how I got into the space was in 2019. Like I said, if you want to be developing AI tools, you have to start by being a programmer, right? You must learn how to write Python code. So back in 2019, I was not, all through my high school, I was not introduced to any programming language back in Nigeria. The programming language I was introduced to was just obsolete here. So in 2019, I found the opportunity to learn how to write code on my phone. And yeah, I joined and I was surprised and amazed. After 4 weeks, I was able to learn how to build a game using my phone. So that was where it started from for me. Then next year, I took my action further by enrolling another bootcamp that introduced me to learning how to write Python codes all on my phone also. I was able to do that also in just maybe 3 or 4 months. By the time I was done with that, Jojo, my CEO, just reached out to me that, oh, there's a problem in one of the SWA code cohorts. People are submitting plagiarized assignments. Can we create a machine learning algorithm that will be able to detect plagiarized codes? I was like, I've not done this before, right? This is I just let Python. I was like scared. It was like, don't worry, let's do it. And we started, and funny enough, we were able to get it done. And I was like, wow, so this is the real world application of machine learning algorithms. So that was a turnaround for me. So at that point, it just became settled in me that, oh, acquiring AI skills is just like you getting the necessary weapons to solve grand challenges indeed in our African continent. Yeah.
Right. So the average person, the average young person, obviously you are younger than Dr. Moore. Obviously, I'm sure you are younger than Charlotte, or you're younger than Dr. Stefan, because all these people are very experienced. They've done so much in their lives. So what does a person need, right, to sort of get an interest in this place where you find yourself? What happened to you? Did you have an epiphany one day that I want to learn programming, or because there are a lot of jobs available?
Sure.
You could have decided to go into banking, because I remember when we graduated from school, a lot of people, you are looking for a job you are not getting. So obviously, maybe if you did computer science, there's a bank job, there's a teller available. You just drop your computer science and go and be a bank teller. That. But what happened to you? How did you develop something like that?
Yeah, sure. For me, I've always had a knack for solving hard problems, right? And ever since I was growing up, I didn't want to just take up a job that would be boring, that I will not be exercising my intelligence at all. There are kind of jobs, there's some jobs that, like paperwork, for example, use sorting files and all those things. It does not in any way add to my intelligence. Nobody needs to learn how to sort files, sort records physically on the bookshelf. But when it comes to solving some of our grand challenges, it requires critical thinking. It requires you knowing some stuff to build stuff. So that was what piqued my own interest. I really wanted to solve problems myself. And I didn't just want to solve any problem. I really want to solve problems that are important. Yeah, like the example I gave, the plagiarism detector was important because, why would you be copying somebody else's assignment and turning it as your own? And that is that thing was happening so frequently. Like I was like, this is not making sense. There was even one person on one of their private groups. He didn't know I was there, because at that point I was a facilitator, and he was like, oh, come and pay me this amount of dollars and I will do your assignment for you. I was like, what? So it's something that has actually eaten leg deep into the educational system. Nobody wants to do stuff themselves. You just want to just grab somebody else and just change some things and submit. So when I saw that was a problem that needs to be solved, and Jojo was there to tell me that yes, this can be solved with machine. And I was like, why not? I can commit to picking up the skill. And I just committed to picking up the skill, and that was it. Yeah.
Right. Dr. Mo, you are a lecturer. You've been you've seen a lot of students and stuff like that. What is the attitude that you have seen that is contributing to the lack of a lot of people venturing into this space of tech, computer science, programming, machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence? What is the challenge that you have encountered? And how do you think we can mitigate it? You're on mute, sir.
Our curriculums in general lack programming. That's one of the main unfortunate aspects. Our curriculums do not have a lot of programming in them. Since I came to Cape Coast, University of Cape Coast, I've tried to engage, and increasingly now we are beginning to change it. So, because I feel if we want to give the future, the current students, a future opportunity, it doesn't matter whether they are studying biology, chemistry, physics, mathematics. They must learn programming, and they must learn. There must be a basic Python program in the second year for every student to have a chance at either it is second year, first semester, second semester. For programs that need a lot of programming, maybe like maths, they must probably get Python 1, Python 2 for one whole year, 2 semesters. Maybe for biology, they must get Python 1. For chemistry, they must get because social science, it doesn't really matter. I feel this is something we can do to improve people's competence. The angst of programming is usually because people think, how is it done? How is it possible? But I always see the excitement when I teach students very basic. They have no idea of programming, and I take them through how to write a vector, how to write a matrix, how to plot a graph. And they plot a graph, they plot a function, and I see how the lights in their eyes, it changes their mind, it changes how they've been seeing things immediately, because they suddenly realize, oh, all the things that we've been trying to plot with our hands and trying to do this, if you can just write a vector and then write your function, you are done. and it's really affects a lot of students, honestly. Since I came here the last 3-4 years, a lot of students who have moved from here, from my university, have gone on to do masters, and all of them are doing something in computational science, because suddenly they see that this is the future, and they keep writing back to me all the time that the course you took us through on the programming aspect, the very little thing you did, changed my mind, and it made me see that I can do it. And I always say it's not difficult. I send them videos, I do short videos, I share it with them on YouTube, and I tell them, go and practice it, go and don't do anything, just listen to what I've type the same thing, and then you will get the same results, and immediately changes their mindset. So I feel for education wise, people should realize it is not difficult. It is something that, and honestly, even nowadays, I tell all my students in all my lectures, I say, look, it is not possible we teach you everything, but if you just go on YouTube and you type, how do I learn Python, or how to become a master Python programmer? There are a lot of YouTube videos, 6 hours to become a Python master programmer, 12 hours to become a Python master programmer, 18 hours. And if you see 18 hours to become a master Python programmer, it just means that even if you tell yourself every week, I'll do 3 hours, if it is 18 hours, it takes you 6 weeks. And if you go step by step by step, you would have actually gotten the skill freely available online. So, of course, I keep getting a lot of people sending me requests that maybe I should do some training and seminars, and I get tired. I've been doing a lot of free seminars on these things. I get tired now. So at
Right.
the end of the year, I'll start mounting up machine learning special classes for 5-6 weeks, and people who are interested can pay and participate online wherever they are. My hope is that they will get Python training, and then they'll be able to implement 1 or 2 machine learning real algorithms for themselves, for them to take them through step-by-step project, how to do it. And I feel once they get it, they will, because there are a lot of Ghanaians, there are some Ghanaians now who know data science and are getting jobs in Germany, in US, everywhere, and they are living in Ghana. So people are
Right.
earning maybe $4,000-5,000, but they are living in Ghana and they are working in US. And it's very good money if you're earning $4,000, even $2,000, and you are living in Ghana. It's a lot of good money. You can buy some good car and buy a nice house for yourself.
Awesome. Charlotte, let me ask you this question. I mean, you have done a lot of work around the continent. I mean, obviously because you are an international person. What have you identified to be the reason why a lot of institutions and, let's say, governments are not pushing, for this skills gap to be bridged? Because sometimes I feel like our governments are just sitting there on the fence and they are not doing a lot. What do you think is contributing to this? With all the conversations you've had on your AU summits and everything, what do you think is contributing to this? And how can we get the people at the top to change their mind and begin to see the need to bridge this gap? Otherwise, we are falling behind. Hello? Charlotte, are you there? Hello? Okay, I think Charlotte is away from her device. No worries. But if Dr. Stefan, are you on the call? If you are here,
Yes, I'm on the call.
Awesome. You also get the opportunity to work a lot with governments based on what you do. So maybe you can take this question from me. What is it that you see with the governments or industry that is not partnering with maybe academic institutions or partnering with a lot of people who are teaching these technical skills to enable the knowledge to proliferate? Because I feel like the gap is too wide and not much is being done by the people at the top to deal with this issue.
Yeah, so let me good afternoon to everyone. I've been enjoying the presentation, listening to Dr. Moore and Samuel and presenting. That's an interesting one. So to all of us listening, I think we are having some learning there. To answer your question, I wouldn't pretend I know everything, but I'll just give it from my perspective. So I believe the ecosystem is ripe. Sorry, I have some other listeners here. They'll be having some noise behind, so forgive me.
No worries. I'm with webinars.
So for I think that looking at Ghana, for example, if we use that Ghana as ecosystem, digitalization has been a strong word that recently we've seen the politicians using that a lot here. And they even try to see how they could give us a difference between digitization and digitalization, where they were breaking it. So there is this passion from the Ghanaian perspective. It is right? And there are a lot of funding from the donor agency, right? From GIZ, where they were doing their farewell. I've forgotten the conferences that they were. I think I was a speaker there one time, getting the GIZ to support, getting the World Bank, pushing a lot in the digitalization agenda, and even having the network operators also positioning themselves, right? So where I sit, I think that the opportunities are there. We at the developing end, we have to put ourselves to take advantage of these opportunities. I think it would be asking the government or these donors too much, asking them to do other things again, because the opportunities are there. We are not even harnessing that to the best of our abilities. That is not to say that what they are doing is enough now, right? So I think it is there. The universities are trying. So you see universities trying to create opportunity for AI conferences, even for technology conferences. You would see industries trying to create a bold decision in that. And you see government itself, even right now, there are AI conversation in terms of governance, in terms of AI. You realize that it's right. You see other countries appointing, like Rwanda, trying to make sure that their AI journey, there's an AI agenda and all that. So I think the African continent is there. They are doing their best. Where I see a bit of gap is that most of us at the developing end, we either suspect that this AI is going to take over our job, and we are not ready to have new learnings. That's where I see. I also think that the learning curve for some others have been put, those predecessors who tried to use that have painted AI and these technologies as a complex tool, so that it is only genius who have to attempt to doing that. And these are myth, right? It's not the case. So I think that these conferences like you're organizing is also going to shape ourselves. Like what Dr. Moore said, look, if I put it from this context, look, when I found myself in China one time, and I became a star. Everybody was taking a picture with me because I was the only black in that community, but I couldn't communicate with anyone. So I had to look for they had to give me a translator, somebody who had to help me translate. Had a conversation. We speak in English, she speaks in their language, and we get back. So that's how the conversation was going. I am lucky I speak French, so if I find myself in Cote d'Ivoire, I'll be able to communicate. If I find myself maybe in Portugal, I don't know what I'll be able to do there. If I find myself in Spain, I don't know what I'll do there, right? There is this new country that is called the Fourth Industrial Revolution. This country, these days, it's a virtual country. It doesn't matter wherever it is. It comes closer to you. The question is, how do you communicate to the people in those countries? Who are those people there? These are machines. Just like you learn French, you learn Twi, you learn Nzema, you learn Ever, and all those kind of things, where the learning curve is a bit uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, it takes you some time to be able to understand, build the conjugation and all those kind of things. You'll be able to build that. What about these machines, those humans that are there, those machines? You need to be able to communicate to them, right? How do we put ourselves? What are the things that we put in place so that the learning curves will not be difficult for us to be able to speak to those machines and give them some series of instructions? Those are algorithms for them to interpret it in a way that would make sense. And today, whether you are an accountant, you are a doctor, you are all those kind of things, you need to speak to this machine and make analysis. You have to speak to this data, right? So the onus lies on us. I don't think it's the government per se, right? It lies on all of us from the receiving end to say that, look, what do I put in place to learn this new language, irrespective of anything? Because when I was learning Twi, it was very difficult. I don't speak it very well, but at least I can communicate very well with every other person. It's the same way we'd have to communicate. So I don't think the barriers exist. They are myth. It's not for genius. It's for anyone who can learn any language, anyone who finds themselves in any country, and within 1 year or two, you can speak the language. You just put yourself discipline. When you go to the country of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, you speak their language. Within 1 year or two, you should be able to be perfect and do that. When I was doing my first degree, I learned how to use PowerPoint. I learned how to use Excel and all those ones. Today, no university will teach you how to use PowerPoint. It is a tool for you to be successful. It is not for computer scientists. It is for every human being who wants to learn a new language and who would be in the Fourth Industrial Revolution. I don't think I answered your question, maybe, but I think that's what I would have to say from this perspective.
Yes, I mean, you've spoken to it, and I think what you've said makes a lot of sense. And I hope we're listening, and I hope all the people here we're paying attention to these things at least, because they are the experts in the space and they are sharing a lot of nuggets. I hope we're listening. Dr. Moore, I want to ask you this question: that what opportunities do you see for entrepreneurship and job creation in the AI sector? Because it looks like the thing has come to stay, and people are, like I said in my introduction, people are scared. Some people are losing their jobs to AI, but AI is also creating other jobs. What are the opportunities for the average person who is not, let's say, technically skilled to take advantage of this AI?
So one is there are data collectors. AI thrives on data. So there are people who are data collectors. And as when I gave the talk, I spent some time to talk about data. It's very important that when we were developing Kaya app, we used a certain data. And unfortunately, of course, we knew the license, but we took a risk. We took a gamble of it at it. So we use a certain data. After we used it and we deployed the app, the person sent, that's the group of people, they sent an email to us and said, you cannot use our data for a commercial purpose. So you have to take the data down, out, you have to take our data out from your work. And we had to then go back and collect our own data and use it for our development. So they are data collectors. If you are a data collector and you collect data and you make it open source does not mean it's free for everyone. So you must learn you must know the licensing. And I try to advise many people that use share alike, which is like, if a big company wants to use your data or a big organization uses your data, they must pay something to you. They must give you some rewards for your data. Or you can say, if you use my data that I've been collecting, maybe every month I expect that you send me $1 or something. So data collectors can get money from collecting data. Because AI relies on a lot of data, nowadays there are a lot of jobs online where they are asking people to write stories. Just they give you some story outline, then you write it. There are a lot of things online, jobs which are asking people to translate stories into some languages. If you know these languages, you just translate them and you get the monies for it. Apart from that, so if you're a data collector, know the licensing you want to use and make sure you get good monies or good benefits for the data you are putting out there. And one of the things that I'm realizing is a lot of people in Africa are becoming data collectors. They collect the data and they give it to the funding agency, and they do not own the data, and they have no share in the data. So if you do that, then you are just becoming a data collector for someone and you have no access, you don't benefit from it. So those are some of the things. The other things are
What skill
product
do you need to
development.
be a data collector?
Is that?
What skill do you require to be a data collector?
Yeah, so to be a data collector, for instance, in languages, if you want to do language translation, you have to know, okay, I'm translating these languages. So I take a test, I translate, I take a test, I translate. And if I have 5,000 sentences that I have translated, I say that I have created my 5,000 translated sentences and it's online. If you want to use it, please let me know. And that's it. It is your data. It can be health data. Health data means you have gone to some hospitals or you have gone around, you've created some data, you've collected data. It could be existing data already, some hospital data hidden somewhere. You have tried to type all of it out, anonymize it, make it readable, and you share it online. If you want to have access to it, please let me know. So this is how you collect these data. It could be images of Ghanaian birds. You can tell yourself, I am collecting images of every bird in Ghana. It means you go around with a camera. If you see a bird, you take a picture. Every bird you see around, you take a picture, and you are collecting Ghanaian birds images. And someone can then develop an app that detects Ghanaian birds or birds that are of Ghanaian from Ghana. And these are the kind of things that helps build the economy or helps build also the skill. So you don't have to necessarily know everything. You start from somewhere, you build your skill gradually. And the job opportunities are there. I mean, if you know, you must learn how to know, you must learn Python programming. After that, the world is just open and big for you. You can do many things with the basic. So there are data science, data engineering. Now most people are going into data engineering because they want to know how to save the data, how to harness the data, the tools that you need to save the data, and harness the data. Data engineering, data science, using machine learning tools to use to enhance data outputs. Or there's those who are just also the data, as I said, data collectors, data engineering, data science, and then their product development. So you should, there are many opportunities that that exist in this aspect, and anyone who is interested, you should know that if you have the skill, there's a job available for you. And do not be worried if you say that uh, some machines are taking over your job. The machines are creating also more jobs. So find yourself in those jobs. If you are, I think last month, a medical doctor in Ghana, he says he's going to US. He's leaving Ghana for US, and he was wondering if he can do a master's in artificial intelligence when he goes to US. And I said, of course you can. If you go to US, you're a medical doctor, it doesn't matter. You can take a master in machine learning and then combine those two worlds. Combine your medicine with machine learning, and you develop new tools. They are medical, one of the front runners of developing, there's Retina AI, which is led by a medical doctor who is also a computer scientist. He finished his medicine, he went to study computer science, and then now he's using the data he's getting from his hospital to develop an AI tool that is able to help him with the disease, the prediction and detections. So those are the things that there's a wide room for many things that can happen. So please get yourself, don't slack, take time. Every 1 hour every week, start with Python, 1 hour every week, start with machine learning. And I tell you, if you give yourself 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, you become an expert and you can start doing. What I realize in Ghana happens is people like to learn the surface stuff. They just learn one or two things just so that they can say they know it. But this is not how it is done. Nowadays, in the world of, in the data science world, or this in computer world, if you go to look for the job, they give you a project, they give you a task, and they say, solve it for us. If you can do it, we take you on board. If you cannot do it, au revoir, à bientôt, bye bye. And so this is how it is working now.
Right. It's good you speak about this, because my next question was going to be about what sort of support or resources are available to people who have an interest in entering the field. Because if the average person doesn't have enough money to go and pay to be trained to go to university, to go and do a master's, what can the person do?
Yeah, so there's edX, there's Coursera, there's YouTube. I've already mentioned already. There's YouTube, there's Coursera, there's edX. All these things are out there. There's free lectures, free lessons, free tutorials. I mean, myself, sometimes I still use YouTube. You know, I go to YouTube. I want to do some projects. I try to find out, has someone done it already? What are some of the ideas people have there? And try to learn from them, and then use my ideas combined with what someone has done. I can learn from it as well and combine the two and develop new tools or develop new things. So they are as for the knowledge now, I think it's in abundance out there. There's Medium. Sometimes I go to Medium also to learn what are the new trends, what are the new things, what are the new models, what are the latest algorithms people are developing for specific tasks, and all these things are out there that you can benefit from. And don't shy. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's something is doable. It's step by step, and you'll be able to achieve it.
So Caleb is asking a question that, please, is it compulsory to further your education, like getting a PhD before you can be an AI expert? Can you give a roadmap for a person with a background of physics into an AI engineer?
Yeah, so for instance, if you want to come into the engineering aspect of it, if you want to go into the engineering aspect of it, that you just need a bachelor's degree is enough. Honestly, most of the things are you can learn them on your own. You just need a basic. You need a basic in programming. If you can write a program in MATLAB, Python, C++, C Sharp, I tell you, you can do many things. You want to do the data engineering, all the tools that are there is really Python based, and you can go on and on and on with it. So you don't need a PhD. I'm sure most of the people who are talking, or some of the people who talk about AI, do not have PhDs. So you do not need a PhD. You need a skill. You need a skill. You need the ability to produce results, and that is the most critical thing. If you want, you can start now. For instance, I got a a student from Tech who came to do an internship with me for 3 months. He had no idea of AI, but he left and he felt like he was an AI guru. He's in his final year in Tech, and he left already feeling he was a guru already because he could implement AI models. He could take data, transform them, find some patterns in them, predict some diseases, and take and it gave him a lot of confidence. So you don't need anything. You just need basic skill. He just came with Python ideas, and from there, because I knew he knew Python, I could just guide him, do this, do that, do that, do that, and before he realized, in 3 months he could implement AI models for vision as well as translation, and even mathematic models, in adding AI to them. So there's nothing like you need a PhD. You just need to be able to code in Python, and you need able to take projects and start from scratch that you want to develop them. If you want to do a PhD in physics, it's possible. You can do a PhD in physics and still have AI as your tool or as something that you use as part of it, actually.
Awesome.
So you need strong background. You just need a good background in Python programming and understanding of data, and that's all you need, and you'll be able to do many things. I believe if I physics students or math students or engineering students, your problem solving skills are high, and so there's no fear about anything at all. You can just take problems and solve them.
Awesome.